Flat Earth Debate live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a Ko-Fi, Patreon, Crypti and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by Neil, Wandek, and a whole bunch of people in the 24/7 politics Flat Earth Debate Discord server, so welcome one and all.
Greetings, everybody.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. I'm going to be a bit more lethargic in terms of how the show runs today because it is absolutely boiling hot here in the UK today. So as a result, I can't have my projector down. Second screen is out of the question. It's just too hot. So for that reason, I'm just going to be running on one screen, and that will mean things take longer, or I won't do any transitions or sharing, one or the other. It's already been a fairly ferocious day in the pre-show over on Flat Earth Debate Politics Discord server. Lots of fundamentalist religious zealots having their asses handed to them by flat earthers, only to be told that their tone needs to be addressed. It's been good fun, as it always is. But I have to give the disclaimer to those of you who are unfamiliar of us being here on a Friday. We only have one purpose, and that is to say to convert the entire flat earth community into an understanding that we no longer need to defend how the globe doesn't work on the back foot. Declaring that the Earth is obviously, observably, measurably, navigatably flat is a demonstrable fact that we can move forward on the front foot with measurements of Earth being flat. Furthermore, if you end up in the defensive position to have to argue against somebody who believes they're on a sphere, point out how their sphere belief comes from a flat Earth measurement in the first instance, because it does. That's what we're here to do. Point out to flat earthers you don't need to defend the globe. Let them postulate it in the positive first, and then defend it if you have to. If you're piping up, tell them Earth's measured flat, because it is. That's why we're here. Feel free to challenge us in any way you see fit if you're on the other side, or if you have any belief. Concaver, fairy tale earther, Ethereum, whatever you may be. Shout out to Flat Earth
Nathan, is
Revolter.
measurement science?
No, it's not. It's a category error. Shout out to Flat Earth Revolter. Says, shout out to the fundies. Thanks for the entertainment. Indeedy do. I'm not going to put your super chat up. I've only got one screen. Sorry. If you super chat, it won't appear on screen. I will chat. I will read it though. Yeah, I spent a good solid 40 minutes in the politics server just listening to how things went. And it's pretty good, got to be honest. Globe defenders do what they normally do, come with their noses in the air like they're talking down to every single stupid flat earther out there. And then they talk about how reality is a subjective subject. You're like, oh my God, what have we come into? Told that our belief is that we've got a pizza pie or something. Same old, same old. Please share the show. We're in politics server in case you've just got here. 50 people odd watching. No AJ today.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, we've got Albarica.
Sure do. What's going on, Nate?
He was slaying it in the pre-show.
I mean, it's no competition when they just bring rhetoric and subjective things to debate.
Who was that? One more time.
You want those two pounds unmuted yet?
When they bring rhetoric and their subjective mind practically because they have no grasp on reality.
No, they've got firm belief, but they in their mind, that's, you know, a really strong belief that can be stacked up in false dichotomy against flat earthers and their beliefs that they tell them that they've got. Well, you say you're on a pizza pie. No, I don't. You jumped in. That was where you jumped in, El Barriqua. Like, I mean, you had to shut the other...
Wait a second. I didn't hear any of that. When was that?
I was hanging around. I didn't want you interrupting it. I've got to be honest now. I'll just tell it like it is. I wanted to sit back and listen to how things went. Subtly, without you going, you don't need a flat earth for that, or whatever you'd have done. No doubt.
I would not have interrupted it.
I told you off yesterday, Neil, literally within the last 24 hours. And you went away. Did you not? Do you not recall?
But not in the pot. No. I went away because the connection was horrible. I told you I'm driving and I don't have the same connection. That's number one. Number two, when we're in the politics, I hardly say anything. So don't misrepresent me like that, because you piss me right off.
Whatever. There was a guy in there, Ego something or other, who I was like, yeah, cheering for him, because the guy starts representing it as a false dichotomy with a flat earth belief. And the guy's like, sod this. And he just chimed in and was like, no, I'm going to stop the guy. And El Barriqua was like, well, you need to let him get to the end of his claim. And I thought, well, fair enough. That is the rules in this server. So eventually he yielded. But I thought, no. And then literally within a couple of minutes, someone else was piping up going, there's a difference between an interruption and an interjection. An interjection's valid. You're like, yeah, what, like straw man in his position, telling him he's got a flat earth belief when he knows damn well it's measured flat? Yeah, that then rebuilt itself into a new false dichotomy. Well, the flat earther now knows it's flat. Once that got pointed out, the flat earther's happy, and Ego, whatever his name was. Sorry, guys, I'm not familiar with you, so if you're still here, Ego, I'm not intentionally trying to talk about you in the third person. It's
all good.
Oh, you are? Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I was right behind you, mate. It's like, bugger this. Why is he telling me I've got a belief? I haven't.
There's a constant battle. They're so feisty.
There's a kind of a
sorry, thanks, Nathan. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'd have been a lot more stroppy. You eventually took the direction from El Barriqua, which I'd have been stroppy about. I'd be like, no, I'm right. How dare he strawman me with a claim of belief? But on the other hand, you've got to yield.
I was pissed, and I was rightfully pissed.
You were, and I was right behind you, gritting my teeth thinking, especially when it then got repositioned to, well, okay, fine, the flat earther knows it's flat. And the glober knows it's flat. No, he doesn't. But I was listening, so I didn't interject. Had I have interjected, I'd be like, no. The belief the glober has is based on the measurements that lets the flat earther interrupt righteously to tell you you're strawmanning him. He knows it's measured flat, and he knows the globe's based on those measurements, making the globe the belief and the measurement the righteous indignation for this guy's interruption. You can become a member, like Jardo. Thank you for the super chat, Jardo. Politics Discord sucks. Been locked out for 2 months. No email, phone, verification works. Yeah, I'm sorry, Jardo. It's not a bad server. I mean, your disdain is because you're having issues with it, but it is a great server. I've had so much fun this morning. When they share their pain.
But they've been telling us for years that it was flat. We just caught on late, if you think about it. And you go back to the old shows, they were always telling us it was flat.
Yeah, they had to. It's the only way it can be measured. Shout out to Flat Earth Travolta, who gifted 5 memberships out. Uncle Ben, Random Hero, Matrix Media, Hit Ted, 1949, Len Lennox, and TB all got gifted a membership. So you can check out that ferocious discussion, followed by me shutting it all down by putting them in the place with proof of Flat Earth. As a member, that'll come out after this is all done and dusted, so check it out. Also, shout out Misfit, FB850. The last guy's globe evidence was NA. That was the guy who was talking just before the live show started. He just started swearing at me. It was great. Like I say, I'm having a lot of fun. Thank you for the super chat. I am freaking exhausted, Neil.
Well, we're putting a lot of work in.
I'm
What
working.
temperature have you got, Nathan, over there?
Temperature? I have no idea. Hey Siri, what temperature is it here in Leamington Spa? 27 degrees. Feels like a lot hotter than that to me. I've got to be honest, I thought it would be higher than that. It's really hot. The sweat's pouring off me. Anyway, that's a bit gross. No one needs to know that. What? How is it there?
27.
Say again?
27, Nathan. Fair income. That's when I take my jumper off.
Okay, I'm sure it's hotter than that in New Zealand. So what?
Shots fired.
Doesn't even faze me anymore.
God damn.
New
Shout out to
Zealand,
Jado.
Australia, USA, big.
Jado says Neil has the timing of a panda. Thank you for the super chat.
Jado can get away with that because he buys me a membership. Thank you, Jado. Let him in politics. What's going on?
He's a troublemaker. Hey, Chocolate. And hey, click OK if you're there. Probably not.
Back to that, though, it's not difficult to understand. I mean, probably a young child could understand that gas will fill space. I mean, what's so difficult to understand about that?
No,
Isn't it?
see, one deck, my children are not getting it because the indoctrination. I went through this with them yesterday. They would rather deny natural law because of what they were indoctrinated with.
I really don't like either of your tone.
Well, that's the only thing you can say, really. Because you will need a container for pressurized gas to be present to register the pressure. You're going to need that container. Yeah,
It's a bit
and
weird.
the pressure will
Okay, right,
pressure
sorry, I
will
thought
fill
you
that container, and then you're also going to need a container for a vacuum state. Yeah, you need a container for a vacuum. You need a container for pressure. What you won't have is pressure inside the container and a vacuum adjacent to each other. That won't happen.
On the one day I've not got the text chat up, Jardo's just gifted 10 memberships. So thank you first and foremost to Jardo for gifting all those memberships. TB, Christian, and who else got one? Click OK. Oh, obviously Click OK is watching a lot. You got a membership, Click OK? He's on the panel at the moment. Anton, Wade, 3 Clip, Horn Dole 1. Is that right? Wow. Okay. Endless, OBE lines, unindoctrinated, or however you say that, I'm sorry. Pablo and Qrec have all got free memberships. Cool. Also, thank you to Mario Knows, who says, lest we forget observable phenomena. Shoo! Thank you for the super chat. I really wish I had these on screen. I'm almost tempted to fire up the projector, but I would just pass out. That was the
If
other
we
thing. I
can
was
get
almost
back to
passing
what
out in the
one
heat.
deck was saying,
Say again, sorry, Neil.
to get back to what one deck was saying about the gas pressure, my son turned around and said to me, because you don't understand quantum physics. Oh, what does that have to do with it?
Not quantum.
Go on, one deck.
Well,
I
no,
just-
I
I'm
don't
just
understand
curious.
quantum physics. I don't understand it, but I do understand that you will need a container for the gas pressure, and you will need a container for a vacuum, but you won't have a vacuum state and a pressurized state in the same container.
We do know that the atmosphere bleeds out into space, though. Like, we know that.
What?
Yes,
Do we?
it does. Yes. It's just
all
a
this
bit
feedback.
different.
Yes,
Like,
that's
we
right.
have a magnetosphere. Protects the fucking atmosphere from
Please,
being
and
stripped
number one,
away. Are
please
these
don't
things all that-
swear. Oh, God.
I'm sorry. I'm an old grunt. I'm an infantryman.
That's fine.
I'm used
That's
to cussing
fine.
when I talk.
That's fine. You're saying we know gas. Did you say leaks into space? Yeah, that's called entropic
Well,
dispersion.
It diffuses.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So if we know that,
Yeah.
and so do you think that gas has weight to it?
But did I say that?
No, I'm asking you.
Did I say it?
No, can I? Am I not allowed to ask you questions?
I say gas fills space. You've just agreed with me. Yeah, we'd all be dead
No.
if the sky was a vacuum.
That's not
not
the question
overcoming
I
it.
asked you.
Asking me if gas has
Let
weight.
me
You
interject.
could just
and
chant through me
reiterate.
responding. You've pushed me for an extra response, and now you're chanting through me. Okay, you've pushed me, so I'm now going to respond and expand. Like gas into spaces. We'd all be dead if the sky was a vacuum. Because in the heliocentric, nonsensical world of sphere Earths derived from flat Earth measurements, you'd have the first gas particle departing from the ground in an upward vector, and it would never return because it'd have nothing to collide with. And so would the second gas particle come out of the ground, go into the 10 to the minus 17 Torr vacuum that you think the sky is, and it would never return because that's what gas does. It travels at a high velocity in whatever vector it's travelling in until it collides with something. So, given that the heliocentric, nonsensical world of sky vacuums has no containment to form gas pressure, it's not a case of we'd lose some of the already in existing pressure that doesn't have containment, we lose some of that to space. No, we'd never have developed gas pressure because there's nothing for it to press on in your world of a sphere in a sky vacuum. That debunks the sky vacuum. There is no sky vacuum to take pictures of gas, not filling it. Nor can you automatically assume that, well, the sphere does have gas at pressure, and just some of it leaks into the 10 to the minus 17 Torr vacuum. No, it would all disperse. That's what gas does. I assume from the fact that the server mods have put him on mute that he couldn't listen to that.
No, I think he deafened himself when he started talking.
He deafened himself.
Yeah.
You're telling me he literally stuck his fingers in the ears rather than listening to me pointing out that we'd never develop gas pressure because all of the gas would come out of the ground and vacate in whatever vector, never colliding with everything, never developing gas pressure. He just stuck his fingers in his ears, did he?
That was a lot of words that said nothing.
Is that your rebuttal? That was a lot of words.
Okay.
Would you like me to simplify it for you? Is it too complicated? Too many words?
No.
Problem. No problem. NA, I heard you. Yeah, when you give a rebuttal like that's a lot of words as opposed to no, entropic dispersion doesn't debunk a sky vacuum, I'll take at face value what you said to me. That's a lot of words. I'll simplify it. Gas fills space. It's a law of nature.
So, do you think that gas or gases have weight?
Did I say that? Or did I actually address entropic dispersion? It seems like he's going to use the same thing, and when I respond, he's going to chant through the obvious rebuttal that he's already had twice. So when I start replying to his question that's been repeated, that I've already addressed, I didn't make a claim about it. What I did make a claim about is being ignored with this non sequitur question. Now, given that I haven't made a claim about it, you're asking me to, in essence, trying to flip the burden. This isn't my claim. I don't need to justify anything about how gas behaves. And now he's chanting through me. Yeah, let's try that again without the fundamentalist religious zealot who's ignored my rebuttal 3 times and now wants a new question, non sequitur, based on a claim I'm not making. By the way, for the audience's benefit, Nathan's not making a claim. He says gas fills space. No, that's an entropic law. Meanwhile, the positive claim is that the sky is a vacuum. I do not make this claim. I debunk it with gas dispersion. I don't have to answer any questions beyond that. I don't care how you describe gas, and if I haven't described it in a particular way that you need to describe it as, I'm not going to be asked about it because I'm not making this claim. I'm debunking your sky vacuum with dispersion of gas, a law of nature. That's all I want to hear about in rebuttal. Not a new straw man that I haven't described about how much mass it's got or whether it's got weight. I haven't claimed it. It's not part of my claim because I am not claiming this as my claim. It's a refutation of a sky vacuum. Hope that's clear.
I think this is a one-sided argument that
It
is
is.
not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, because I win.
I'm not done talking. Can I finish talking, please?
If it's a one-sided argument
feel like
that you think is going to go nowhere, that's
please. This is
you
bad
could,
faith, dude.
you could,
are
but you've
bad
already
faith.
said something,
This
which
is
is it's a
bad faith, dude.
one-sided
I'm out.
argument. No, it isn't. You've
No.
misrepresented the situation. I'm now going to immediately interject and say it's not a one-sided argument. He claimed I could become an astronaut and go to space. I can't because the gas that we're looking back on as an astronaut would fill that space. You had an argument that I could become an astronaut. I said you can't because gas fills space. That's not a one-sided argument. That was your rebuttal. I've just taken a big steaming dump on the crap that you replied with. That doesn't mean I'm going to be talked through because you feel it's unreasonable after telling me it's a one-sided argument. No, it's a two-sided argument. You lost. You lost when I pointed out how gas behaves. You asked me if gas had weight, which isn't a rebuttal. It's non sequitur. I didn't claim it. It's the fourth time I've pointed it out. I respond to every word you say. You strawman a non sequitur away from my actually rebutting your sky vacuum. That's all that's happening here. So it's a two-sided argument. You lost. No sky vacuum to look back at Earth to have pictures of it, because you're looking back at gas not filling space. That's me winning this two-sided argument. Is last rebuttal that, no, it's just one-sided. No, I heard I was supposed to become an astronaut from some dickhead who didn't understand dispersion and entropic laws of nature. Some moron, some complete Burke had a side to his crap he claimed. And then there was the second side, my side, the winning side. The side that made him look like a Burke. I mean, by hand-wave dismissal, I was told it was only one-sided. It's not like I'm refuting the sky vacuum that I could be flying into as an astronaut, as he put to me. No, he didn't get a chance, did he? Dumbo, you lost.
Well, we can ask a housekeeping question. Is there any evidence you can have gas pressure without containment?
No. It's an antecedent consequent relationship. Without a container to press on, you can't make pressure. That's what pressure is.
I'm sorry. Maybe I'm confused. It does sound like a one-sided argument because his first statement out the gate was a concession that gas leaks into the vacuum.
Yeah, prior to that, it told me to become an astronaut and go to space. It was just in the pre-show.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
So he agrees, chocolate, gas fills space.
If they start by throwing your rebuttal at you, like somehow repeating your rebuttal makes it a refutation of the position. It's like them saying, yeah, it's okay, so we measure Earth flat, and then we derive the geometric... Oh, whoa, stop. We measure Earth flat. Yeah, we measure Earth flat, and then we derive with calculations the geometric sphere edge that you idiots don't believe is there when we see it in the maths and then claim it's the horizon. Sorry, stop. We measure Earth flat, right? Surface level. Yeah. They keep throwing it back at you like somehow it's a rebuttal. Okay, so gas... You all understand that gas does fill space? Like, we do lose a certain amount of gas to space. Yeah, we understand gas fills space. Yeah, that's why we'd all be dead if we lived on the sphere, stupidity. But he's offering it back like it's somehow a way of assuming we do have a little bit of gas pressure pressing on nothing. And just some of it goes into the sky vacuum. But the rest, we're all cool breathing without containment. No, that's not a rebuttal.
I mean, no disrespect to the housekeeping questions, but I think nowadays these are statements now. It's not how can you have gas pressure without containment. We should be stating you cannot have gas pressure without containment. There's no question to be asked.
Yeah, it's true.
I agree.
I agree. These are statements of fact. You can't deny an antecedent consequent relationship. Oh, of course you can have gas pressure without a container. What's it press on? It's just stupid. It's a nonsensical statement. And their whole religion's based on it. Yeah, of course we can have gas not filling the space. We can go into the space. The rocket can go into the space. But the gas travelling at high velocities in all directions, filling volumes in line with entropy, it just doesn't fill the volume. Yeah, of course, we can have a black bit that's 10 to the minus 17 torr next to clouds. No worries. No, you can't. It's a complete violation of dispersion law. Gas behaviour.
You don't understand quantum physics.
Got nothing to do with quantum physics.
Nathan, since he left, I figured I would look up what weight is so that we could define it, and it actually ends up being somewhat of a begging the question fallacy. From Oxford Languages, a body's relative mass, or the quantity of matter contained by it, giving rise to a downward force, the heaviness of a person or thing. So I don't even know if weight is clearly defined or if it even exists.
Yeah, by reading it, you've spotted what they're trying to do when they try to invoke weight. If they can invoke if they can invoke weight, they can suggest that gas goes down. Well, because it's got weight, by definition, it's going down. No, gas comes out of the ground and moves away from it. That's what it all does. It's all created at ground level and moves its way up. Oh, well, it gets thinner and still needs to be at pressure, and it needs to be pressing on something. There's less up high because there's no factories in the sky producing gas. It's all done on the ground. So obviously you've got a higher concentration there. Doesn't alter the antecedent of containment that must be there to press on to make a pressure, to then make a pressure gradient. But they appeal to, well, gas has got weight. So in their mind, it goes up to the Kármán line, eats a few cakes, defies gas law by changing direction, violating the third law of thermodynamics. It's just all garbage. We were writing about that yesterday in the book. So at some point, Adam's like, you need to put a little anecdote in. So the publisher of the book said, you need some anecdotes. It's like things that have happened on the show, or, you know, stories that we come up with, and this was one of them. So Adam's like, well, you just need to rattle off your version of the rebellious gas particles. That's to say they're sort of structured as being feminists. I don't know why that happened, by the way. Why they became feminists, burning their bras. It's just the defiance aspect, I think, like the suffragettes. So they're defying the law of nature that is entropic law, the second law. So we say they're burning their bras in defiance of the second law of thermodynamics. They get to the Kármán line and go, no, I will not be governed by this law of nature. No, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to eat some cakes. I'm going to gain weight. I'm going to go down, go boom, boom, go splash, splash. No laws governing me. I'm an independent gas particle. I'm going to earn my own living. I'm going to go up the career ladder and be a strong and independent gas particle. Or eat cakes and go down, go boom, boom. Either way, I'm in charge of my destiny. The second law of thermodynamics does not govern what I do as a gas particle. You hear me? I am sentient. I am a strong, empowered particle.
Funny.
That rhetoric got so expanded upon. We had Darth Particle and all sorts coming into that story at some stage. It was getting really crazy how much it got expanded out.
Are you keeping the book to the questions of the housekeeping, Nathan? Or you think maybe it's a good idea to change it to a factual statement?
It's funny you should ask. Have you, by any chance, been involved in some of the editing process by any chance, One Deck? Yeah, you have. I know you have. Yeah, basically, the book was being written last year, and at the time, housekeeping was the most prevalent thing, and the book was even originally, at one stage, titled that, Housekeeping. It's not now. But after 1st Jan 2024, it's like our attitude's taken a bit of a fundamental change. So the way the book was structured suddenly kind of didn't... It wasn't current. It went out of date before it was published. So we've had to make some fundamental changes. So, I don't know, about a month or two ago, I was like, yeah, it'll come out in a few weeks. It's like, well, because it's written. But that will never see the light of day now, because it's been adjusted. It's been changed into much more in line with a 2024 narrative. We have kept the structure to explain housekeeping. So a lot of the chapters have still got the titles they originally have, which are housekeeping names. And we do go through them. But now it's got more of a spin on how Earth is measured flat, and even the chapter order. So in terms of measuring Earth flat, the order was changed fundamentally. So now we've got elevation angle measurement being the first discussed housekeeping question, and then the idea, although this change hasn't been done yet, is that the end chapter, all of which is pretty much written, it's just being rewritten, will be the Black Swan. So there's like a lot of work went into that chapter just yesterday by Adam and QE, and as much as it pains me to watch this, because they're stripping my book back and rebuilding it, and I'm like I'm going up the wall, which is why I'm so exhausted. So I'm climbing the walls with my nails and trying to keep my temper as in check as I can, without losing all of my friends around me while I'm screaming at them. But it's a stressful thing to do. On the other hand, right, so there's the negative bits out of the way. This will be an exceptional book. Now, not just saying that because it's mine, but it's going to become more of a reference. That is to say, where it was a bit more of a story about housekeeping, it will become a journey through cited references to back the fact Earth's measured flat in more detail than it previously had. So as much as maybe there might be 80 pages of actual story, the rest of the book, maybe if it's 150 pages, say for the sake of argument, is all going to be glossary, i.e. where the expanded references are and the citations from them interjected into the text. So as you're going through, for example, housekeeping questions about the black swan, or housekeeping questions about the R value, or housekeeping questions about elevation angles, it's explaining with an explicit lean on how we would argue in 2024. So I'm pleased because it's going to be a better product, actually quite a lot better product, because of how high the reference standard's gone up since QE's specifically got involved. So where we'd be like, or I would be like, referencing a wiki citation, he's like, well, I've got this from this college, or I've got this from this university. That's better. And it is. It just raises the bar, along with, obviously, lots of paraphrasing and various changes and alterations to the actual text and story that's trying to be told by me, by people who are around me, who've all helped to change the editorial. So where previously it was mine and I hadn't necessarily offered up that much credit to everyone around me, it's been more generic. That will also change. I haven't told any of the people who are currently helping me rewrite it. But that needs to alter. I need to specifically mention certain people. Definitely not Neil.
That's funny.
It did it.
Hey, listen, Nathan.
Did I miss the punchline? I think I did.
Go ahead. Then I got a shout out Jardo. Is that chocolate? Go ahead, chocolate.
No, I was just going to say, Nathan, if you wanted to, if you wanted to use the Earth is the globe is flat poem in the book, you're quite welcome to use that.
I mean, you should be publishing this stuff. You should be writing a book of poems, getting it published.
Yeah, this is housekeeping.
Either way, I mean, I'd be flattered if I can. I'll certainly suggest it next time we're editing it, and see how that goes down. I mean, I'm flattered, absolutely flattered. But that's your work. You need. We'll get into it another time. We're in a foreign server, in a live stream. This isn't the time one deck, but I am flattered that you'd even offer. Thank you. Shout out to Jardo. Your book. Please don't use the word they without defining that term. One whole paragraph. Use that term. If you can't define they, then you'll have to delete that paragraph. Okay. I'll bear that in mind, Jardo. Thank you for the super chat. It might be that you've watched one of the after shows where I've intentionally leaked a bit of the editing process, but contextually, there's a good chance, Jardo, that we have identified who they are for each chapter. So don't worry too much. But it's going to be gone through with a fine-tooth comb. Don't you worry.
Just to, I'm only going to read. This isn't a poem, by the way, or anything. I just wrote something down because QE asked me to write it down, and it was just something that it's something I've always known about how the celestial sphere is. The celestial sphere. It's like a perspective view of the skies. Appears like a dome. I've always known that since we've spoke about it on the show. But something clicked with me the other day when 10th was in describing the rectangle and the pie slice and how they've used that and brought it down. And something just thought, I just thought, cheeky buggers doing this. How have they got away with this? Something else just clicked in my head. And I said something on the show the other night, and QE said, write that down. So I wrote it down, what I was trying to get across. So it's not a poem, but it was basically, it blows my mind how they hijack this perspective of the celestial dome, heavens, to then bring this perspective of a curved dome down to a flat Earth, to then create a globe model that doesn't account for perspective and replaces perspective with curvature when perspective was used in the first instance to create the non-perspective Earth curve model.
Yeah, good summary. Exceptional.
I have no clue what you just said, dude.
You got no clue what you just said?
He
He's
said the
saying...
sky was reverse engineered from the flat Earth.
I can easily break that down. The summary was good, I know, because I can give the expansion. What Wandek's basically summarizing is measurement of an angle to a star that's directly above your head would be 90. Measurement of a star sitting on the horizon would be 0, and measuring a star behind you on the opposite horizon would be 180. Well, that view is a protractor around you. What you're actually viewing is a flat sky and a flat ground, and you're creating a dome around you with the angles that you see the stars through that protractor with. That creates a hemispherical view of the north called the celestial hemispherical view. Now you can do the same with the south and create the celestial sphere. But for now, we'll focus on the north only. You've got a hemispherical view, like I described. Star on each horizon, star above you, 0 through 180. 90 being directly above you, 0 at each horizon. 0 and 180. Yeah? That can then be transposed from the projected points through the protractor back onto the ground, but with a projected star-based map between you on a flat plane and the stars you just measured. That's a globe projection. So now you've got you standing in the middle of what was formerly a protractor just measuring the angles, called the globe. So you're in hell, the globe's wrapped around you, and the celestial sphere is wrapped around that. And then the points that you see the star from hell through the globe at correspond with a point on the globe. So your flat Earth measurement turns into a perspective view that turns into a celestial sphere that then turns into a globe that you can then stand inside to measure these points. Now, the radial value that you've converted to give you that sphere can be used in an Earth curve mathematics to claim that the derivation of a flat Earth measurement of surface level when raising in altitude and calculating the difference from eye level parallel with it will give you an Earth curve below surface level, but only if you ignore perspective and do it in an orthographic manner. So to conclude, you've taken a perspective view of the world to give you the points through the protractor to turn into a globe, to be standing in to measure those points that you measured with perspective to create the globe that you're not standing on, you're standing in, to suggest that those points are a map that has a surface that you could be standing on, to claim that the horizon is below the surface level you are measuring and dealing with when you measure the perspective of the stars. Ergo, they've ignored the perspective they created the model at an inferred Earth curve with to remove it with a orthographic view and suggest that a flat Earth measurement and derivation from eye level can give you a non-perspective view of an Earth curve based on the perspective you measured in the first place. But Wandek's summary was far more concise. Well done, Wandek. That was epic.
You got all of that out of that? They just hijacked perspective.
Yes, he detailed every point I just went through. Say it again, Wandek. You detailed every single point I just went through.
Why would I do that in its spaghetti logic? Like what?
That's what you got to do to believe you're on a globe. I agree. Spaghetti logic.
I believe in gravity. Do you?
No.
Noodle brain.
Just one guy at a time. Some guy's just piped up and is now talking about gravity. Whoever that was, what's your name?
Yeah, it was me. KP.
AP.
Gravity.
Hey, you can believe whatever you like. If you want to believe in gravity, that's fine. We understand the base premise that gets you to your belief in gravity, which we could explain if you're a tolerant human being and would tolerate us explaining where your belief in gravity comes from. But a belief in a force of gravity...
when I got my master's.
Oh, my bad.
So
I was obviously finished. You go ahead.
Well, you're trying to teach me something I was already taught by a more intelligent group of people. So
Yeah, you have a PhD in vocal burn, bro.
Whoever's off mute, I
do
can't
you
hear the
have
guy
yours
who
in?
I was originally talking to. This AP guy is the only person I want to hear.
It's new.
Yeah, you know who I am. Gravity.
I
It's a
don't know who you are.
phenomenon.
Who are you?
KP.
AP.
Gravity phenomenon. Where it comes from, how does it act on things? It doesn't stop acting when things get large. So the planet we exist on, gravity acts on it. How do you imagine you can get some flat Earth with uniform gravity? How does that work?
Which gravity?
Uniform.
That's not a type
Generally
of gravity.
uniform.
That's not a type of gravity.
Like, how do you get that on a flat Earth?
Sorry, which type of gravity? The response I heard was uniform. That's not a type of gravity.
There's only one type of gravity, and
No,
the
there isn't. There's
distribution
5.
of it is
That's
uniform.
incorrect.
We
Stop
call
while
it
I correct
uniform
you.
when
Just
it's
stop.
uniform.
You just said one type. Incorrect. There's 5.
There's 5 different types of
Yes.
gravity.
Which one are you talking about? You said there's only one. I've now corrected you. There's 5. Do you know which one you're talking about? If not, maybe I can figure it out based on... If not, if you don't mind, maybe I can figure out which gravity you believe in based on a few questions I'll have to ask you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that I'm still talking and you need to talk through me. The server's not going to tolerate this, AP. If you just keep yammering through the top of me, they'll eventually just shut you up.
You're doing,
yeah, you just yammering through me, mate. Now, now AE Mia's now piped up. I don't need anybody other than this AP guy. I also do need him to actually listen and not yammer through the conclusion of each of my statements by talking as I'm talking. If that's okay by you, AP. Good. So, AP, which gravity you don't know, it seems, because you only think there's one and you're wrong.
I'm of the position you're in the absolute wrong. So what's your 5? I'll take that position instead. I have more confidence in myself than you.
I'm not claiming this. You are. So you tell me it's your claim. I'm not going to tell you what the 5 gravities are. I'm not claiming them. You said there's only one. You were wrong. Excuse me, I'm replying. It seems the rules of engagement have already been defied. This guy's an arsehole. He's decided he's going to talk through the end of my statements no matter what happens. Unreasonable. Globally being zealot. Who cannot keep his mouth shut while I talk. He's now doing it, and the moderators will have to step in. And there they are, stepping right in, shutting your dumb ass down because you can't tolerate a flat earther pointing out that he knows more about your own claim than you do. You said there's only one. You're surrounded by people who know you're wrong, Dumbo. You think you're going to challenge me on this? You are wrong. Now, I'm not going to justify what your claim of gravity is by giving them to you. Yeah? There's enough people around me who know I'm right to shut you down immediately when you tell me I'm wrong because they know I'm not. Now, I'll ask you again. We'll see if you can cope by giving an actual answer. Which gravity do you think you have a belief in? No? Well, that's the end of that conversation then.
That didn't go down very well, did it?
Well, you'd need a horizontal plane of reference to describe down.
Didn't they once say the direction of gravity? I think I heard that in politics one time.
I don't know. Half the time when people come along and claim gravity, you don't get very far in the conversation before they're railroading you, chanting through you, and telling you there's only one of them, and then asking you to tell you what the ignorance they hold has as the other explanations they don't know about. Oh, dear. I know, these people are very stupid.
I don't really get how you go into how you got confidence in your position and then literally ask the direct question afterwards and then silence.
Yeah.
How does that work, buddy?
Idiots. Dunning-Kruger, it's called. It's where you think your ability is far higher than what you actually know and have as an ability. The guy who goes into his exam going, I've got this. It's just easy. Can ace this. It comes out. How'd you do? Fantastic. so well. I know everything. Yeah, guy gets an F. That's Dunning-Kruger. That's this guy. I'm going to do really well. Well, what are you going to say about gravity? Gravity. Which one? There's only one. No, there isn't, Dumbo.
Yeah, but Nathan, now, what if there's a new audience member? They're just tuning in. They're not going to understand what's going on.
I don't care.
I think
Sorry, is it my claim? Do I need to educate an audience on a ball believer's version of a gravity that he thinks there's only one of? No, I'm not going to do that. I mean, maybe our opponent, the guy who brought it up, the guy who suggested it and put it to me, could explain it. Oh, no, absolutely not. The guy's a Burke.
Well, he gave us a new gravity uniform.
Uniform gravity? I told him that wasn't a gravity. He didn't really respond to that either.
I thought he said unicorn.
Maybe. Sorry, man. I was going to say,
all this actually makes sense to me now.
Oh, there's a new guy talking. Sorry, Chocolate. Who was that in Discord?
All good.
Hello, I'm Get Beget. I just wanted to say that it makes sense to me now why they all will be chipped, just like cattle and pets, you know.
Okay, well, I'm glad you know that now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I say, Dunning-Kruger. Say again, Neil.
Chocolate was trying to say something before.
Yeah, Chocolate.
No, just in response to Neil, when he said somebody new turned it on and they might not know what's going on, but if depending on the time they turned it on, what they would have heard is a Glober that had confidence in their position and then go into hibernation when asked the direct question.
You might be looking it up. Might be looking it up. It's still here. Still off mute.
And you think if they want to talk about some gravity or whichever gravity he wants to talk about, unicorn gravity or whatever he said, you know, come and talk about it, or just put your thoughts forward and present some evidence on this gravity that you feel is, happening in nature around us.
No, what's happening now is what happened with my children. He's indoctrinated. He had teachers that were far more educated than Nathan that taught him about this. It's indoctrination.
Yeah, they don't know they're in a cult. Very few people who are in a cult realise they're in a cult, right?
Correct.
Yeah, you're in a cult. A cult of
And
sky
they get
vacuums.
angry when you try to pull them out.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you become the bad guy. What's that? You think there's men that go to a sky vacuum? I should believe in your gods. I should become your god and become an astronaut and go to Narnia to take pictures of gas not filling space? Nah, that's silly. That's fundamentalism. That's zealotry. That's being a fundy with a cult that you believe in. Sad.
Yeah. And before you want to talk about, flat earthers are a cult. No. We're just talking about the ground. There's no cult about the ground. It's just how we use it, how it's measured, right? There's nothing culty about it. But your belief in uniform gravity or belief that you could be an astronaut in space in a vacuum, see, all of that sounds quite culty.
Very culty.
On the outside of a magical spinning water ball flying around in a vacuum. That sounds a little culty. Sorry.
Just a little bit kooky. Just a little bit bonkers. On a ball in a sky vacuum, thousands of miles an hour. Really? Okay, nutcases. What's that? I'm in a cult. No. When I say Earth's measured flat, for the maps and the journeys and the flying and the boating and the building. And no, we do. We measure it flat. Furthermore, your stupid, funny, idiotic sphere belief with you flying around in a sky vacuum, that's made with those flat Earth measurements. But what I'm in a cult. Oh, no, you really don't know what's going on here, do you, you sad individual? You're in a cult. What's that? I should have my children taken off me? Oh, no, that's not at all like a culty response for me telling you how Earth's measured. Right?
Well, I did read an article that they found caves on the moon to protect the astronauts when they go on the moon in the next 5 years.
All right.
So by 2030, they're going to be on the moon again, Nathan.
Is that right? No, they won't be. They never went to the moon because it involves travelling past high-pressure gas into an area the gas could be but isn't filling, called a sky vacuum at 10 to the minus 17 tour. To travel through it, wave goodbye to gas at the Kármán line. It's all garbage. Gas would fill the area that the claim to be journey to the moon. That's an area of volume the gas can fill. If the rockets can go into it, so
Oh
can
my
the high
God.
pressure gas.
Oh my God, this sounds like blasphemy. I mean, you guys don't believe that Barbie doll was into space like 2 weeks ago on ISS?
No, the ISS is claimed
No,
to be
it's
in the
all
sky vacuum.
they shot it in a movie theater, dude. It's all
Yeah.
fake.
They sent 10 Barbie dolls to astronauts on ISS 2 weeks ago on Barbie doll anniversary, 70th year anniversary, and they show on TV all those ESA and ISS astronauts playing with Barbie dolls on the ISS. Let's do science.
Above globe
Yeah.
Earth. Above
No,
globe
I totally
Earth.
believe it. I totally believe
Anyway,
it.
Hang on a minute.
I
Hang
guess
on
we're
a
gonna
minute.
Also,
make
do you remember-
Ken?
movies
What about
until
Ken?
we die, faking it. You know.
Again, SP.
Well,
Again,
thank God
SP.
tax dollars are being
Sorry?
used for good.
Hold on a second. The guy we were talking to earlier piped up.
Dude, speak up. You said something about faking movies forever. Speak up.
He said we too.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna keep faking in higher quality the ISS like videos of Earth, and yeah, we're just gonna keep doing that until perpetuity, like thousands of years from now.
Whoever's
We're gonna
off
keep doing
mute,
this
old
stupid
something,
shit.
old guy, old Hosburn, old guy, stop. I want to hear what the
Suhas,
guy's
you
got
sound
to
like you're
say.
in a blender.
Now he's talking through me. I want to hear what you've got to say, mate. I'm trying to stop the other guy rumpusing you. Can you repeat that, please?
Yeah, it would seem as like anytime we get like videos above this Earth that show it to be a certain way, you guys are gonna claim it's like doctored or fake. So I guess as the quality of video increases into the future, past 8K and everything, like 400 frames per second, you guys are gonna keep claiming this, I guess, yeah? It's gonna
Wait,
keep working out for you.
Let me know when you're done.
Frames per second.
I wasn't talking to you.
Means
I
that
wasn't
you
talking
can't
to you.
fake it
I wasn't
anymore.
talking to you. I just asked the guy. Let me know when you're done. SP.
Yeah, that's it.
Is that it?
This highlights the absurdity of your position. It wasn't obvious.
Is this protracted silence you not letting me know that you're done? Have you got more to add?
Yes,
Go
sir,
ahead.
That's it.
Go ahead.
That's it.
Go ahead if you've got more to add.
I have nothing more to add. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for letting me know you were done. No, you see, the ISS is claimed to be looking back at high-pressure gas not dispersing into a 10 to the minus 17 torr vacuum. It's automatically fake. I don't recall me suggesting anything about the quality of imagery. I debunked the area the claim to be photos are taken from. I gave an example with moon travel. I said if the guys can travel to the moon, then the high-pressure gas travelling in all directions at a high velocity would also fill that space that is claimed to be travelling through on a trip to the moon. The ISS is claimed to be in the sky vacuum. There is no sky vacuum. Gas would never develop pressure. We'd have no gas to breathe. It's not about the image quality. It's about a second law of thermodynamics violation you believe is above your head in the form of a sky vacuum for this ISS to be in. It isn't. It's fake because it's a violation of natural law. Sod all to do with your straw man claim that we say it's about the imagery. Nobody said that. I had, however, multiple times since you've been here suggested
Right, is
that
that it?
it's
No
a violation
Glovers
of
left?
natural
You
law.
guys-
Now
that's it?
Radwin's
You're done?
chanting through the top of my conclusion and victory dance, it seems. The guy I told not to do it earlier has decided to ruin my victory. No, nobody claimed your straw man that you were offering up there, SP. Nobody talked about quality. I only talked about the second law of thermodynamics violation that the sky vacuum for them to take pictures from would be.
Yeah, space isn't empty and it's not a vacuum. They teach this to middle schoolers. So why are you trying to hold it to the idea of it being a vacuum?
Because it's
Why
claimed
does
to be.
NASA say it's 10
because
to
it's
the negative 17 torr?
Yes,
It's near
it
a
is.
vacuum. It's
Yes,
not a
excuse. I
perfect
don't need any help, and I would like to
Nobody
respond to
said
the guy's
perfect
claim,
vacuum,
but on my
anything
own,
here,
Radwin.
anywhere,
Thank
ever.
you for
All your
making this
posture is
audio chaos
bullshit.
where the guy doesn't shut up because
No.
you're helping. No, you're not. You're not helping. I'm talking to the SP guy. Don't mute the SP guy. Mute the Radwin guy that's interrupting this. Okay. Now, mate, it's a second law of thermodynamics violation. They claim it's 10 to the minus 17 torr. That's a very high vacuum, categorized by NASA as a very high vacuum. 10 to the minus 17 torr is the claim value. However, that claim is a second law of thermodynamics violation.
You're just
Gas-filled
afraid to
space
speak. You
is
just need to type.
What the hell is going on? It seems like the guy on my own side's decided he's going to destroy my point. That's the third time he's done it. Radwin, what is the malfunction with you? I've told you, please don't do that. Now got to now address you instead of the guy I'm debating with and ask you not to do that a fourth time. Try it a fourth time. Hopefully the guy from my own side won't rumpus me again. It is a second law of thermodynamics violation. You said it's not a vacuum. That was your last response. Yeah, it's a high vacuum. 10 to the minus 17 torr. That claim of a high vacuum, undermining your stupid nonsense crap that it's not a vacuum, is undermined by the second law of thermodynamics, gas-filled space. A space would be 10 to the minus 17 torr as claimed for your sky, claimed to be a vacuum. Hope that's clear.
It's not a perfect vacuum, so it would not adhere to a strict definition.
Sorry,
of
who
the
said perfect?
second law of
Sorry, is
thermodynamics.
this a straw man? Did
You didn't
somebody
say
say perfect? Is this guy now introduced this word to straw man we with?
Excuse
It seems
me,
that me
sir.
interjecting
I'm
into
noticing
the
that you
straw
didn't
man's not going to
say
be
it while
tolerated.
you're
He's just going to
pretending I
rumpus.
said
It seems my
something
interjection's
about
not going to be heard. It's not like I said that word. It's not like me pointing out that it's a straw man, that you've now introduced a new standard that I didn't use. I say the sky's not a vacuum. You say it's not a vacuum. I point out it's claimed to be a high vacuum by NASA, 10 to the minus 17 torr. You say it's not a perfect vacuum. So you've now introduced a straw man standard I didn't use. I've overcome your crap. I'm just going to say it like it is now. I'm not going to get rumpus. I'm just going to say it like it is, hopefully without non-stop fundy interruption, because that's what obviously comes when I win. No, dickhead. Are you deaf? Your garbage that it's not a vacuum was ripped to shreds by a flat earther who's smarter than you. And then I went to NASA, who describe it as a high vacuum. What that did was take a dump on the stupid crap you offered up last time. Now you're offering up a new variation of a straw man I didn't offer. Now let it be known for the audience's benefit, this is not enticing a response. His crap has been overcome. His only rebuttal to a second law of thermodynamics violation, sky vacuum, was to say it's not a vacuum. That's been dealt with. So what's now left on the table is the fact, oh, of course, rumpusing, of course. The fact that is a second law of thermodynamics violation won't enable men to take pictures from the ISS. The gas they're picturing below them would fill the space claimed to be a vacuum.
Correct.
Am I allowed to reply? You can't defeat an opponent when you silence them, sir.
Okay, thank you for your rebuttal. Can you now pop him on mute so I can address that? I'd rather just have him on mute. He's given his rebuttal, which is by silencing somebody, you can't achieve a win. No, what I did was reiterate my point with you chanting through the conclusion of it. I've reiterated it and you've now hand-waved it and ignore it by suggesting that you've been shut down while you're chanting through it right now. What you're doing is projecting. You chanting through the top of me addressing you like you're doing now is you shutting me down. Now your projection has led you to decide literally while you're doing it to suggest that you are being shut down. No, sir, you're projecting literally the very thing you're doing as you're doing it onto me. You're railroading me. What you last stated was not a rebuttal to a second law of thermodynamics violation, sky vacuum, to take pictures from the ISS, your claim, that has been refuted. Your rebuttal so far, it's not a vacuum. It is a vacuum. Furthermore, it's not a perfect vacuum. Straw man. Now it's I'm being silenced. I heard your rebuttals. Number one, it's not a vacuum. Garbage. It was taken a dump on. Second rebuttal, it's not a perfect vacuum. Nobody said it was. That's a straw man. Is this me not hearing you? Is this when you were muted that I heard these things? No, because the third rebuttal, winning isn't shutting me down, was utterly non sequitur because you haven't been on reciting your rebuttals to you. Now I will conclude, hopefully without a further projected interjection over the top of my victory. Gas fills space. Ergo, ISS taking pictures of gas not filling space is a violation of the second law of thermodynamics. Being told it is A, not a vacuum, B, not a perfect vacuum, and C, being shut down, none of those are going to overcome the fact it's a violation of a law of nature called the second law of thermodynamics. I am concluded. You may respond.
Fatality.
He ran. He ran the way.
Oh, he ran like an abject coward bitch? No shit.
This is what fatality does.
Yeah, so I'll take a further victory dance for the audience's benefit.
Yes.
From 2024 onwards, this is how it's gonna be. You, the zealot fundamentalist religious globe believer, telling us about your belief in gravity, telling us about your belief in calculations derived from flat earth measurements that lead you to the impression you're standing on a spherical surface. We'll be berating you with righteous indignation for the stupidity we have to tolerate from you. Not only the stupidity, the abject ignorance that you hold in lieu of your claimed proof for your belief. It will be demeaned and your stupidity will be highlighted by flat earthers. And when you run like cowards because you feel that you're going to get away with a win by telling me that you've been shut down while you chant through every demolition of your fundamentalist sphere belief, that's not a win. This is a win. Earth is measured flat.
True. Mr. Nathan, can I say something to you, please?
By all means.
Yeah, I dare to together to actually correct NASA, because NASA themselves are using the term high vacuum fallaciously. NASA itself.
Yeah.
What I'm willing to say is that, to point out, is that the word vacuum is something absolute. It doesn't have a high or low. The action of vacuuming means to extract gas matter out of
that's
something.
Wrong. That's incorrect.
Yeah.
No, that's wrong.
Okay, yeah, I take that, no problem. But in Romania, in physics, the way we learn the language, and the Romanian language is a little bit more complex than English. And the word vacuum in Romanian language it means something absolute.
Something what?
So you don't have degrees of comparison like higher or lower. When 10 to the minus 17 torr is a very low air pressure.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, it is
absolutely.
It is, I think, 100,000 of a trillionth of a torr. So that is one very, very, very small fraction above 0 torr. It probably is the smallest fraction we can. I don't think we can actually physically achieve such pressure gauges
No, we
to
can't.
measure with this degree of precision. Yeah.
No, well, we can't achieve it. 10 to the minus 6 is all we've achieved in 6 foot thick vacuum chambers.
Yes.
You need a container for the vacuum itself. To have a vacuum, you must first have a container to achieve a vacuum.
Correct. Closed or isolated container.
Yeah, that's the whole point of a vacuum. The
Yeah,
differential is what you've
because
just
in
accurately
physics,
identified. It's the differential in pressure.
yeah,
So if you're going to describe it as a
yeah,
vacuum, you're just saying that there's atmospheric, hate that word, pressure on the outside of
yeah,
a container, and inside there's less pressure than that. That's all it is.
yeah. So the pump, that action of vacuuming is extracting the air out of the vacuum chamber. So this is an action which leads to achieving a vacuum, but a vacuum actually cannot be achieved. And also, perfect vacuum doesn't exist. It's incorrect grammatically to say it.
Right. We didn't.
Yeah.
It was a straw man.
But the guy said perfect vacuum, and that's grammatically incorrect.
Yeah. I mean, I get kind of what you're saying when you say, low,
Yeah.
medium, high. Well, it's completely arbitrary.
Yeah.
What you're actually going to describe isn't a variation in a vacuum. That's obscene in terms of what you're actually describing.
Yeah.
You're describing how much pressure there is in an availability of volume. It's how many
Yes.
collisions you'd have in a given area if it was contained. And you can define it by an area.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that number one would require containment. Number two is a description of the walls and the collision of the gas particles on them and how many there are, or how little
Correct.
there are.
Yeah.
But saying high vacuum, what high amount of space that could have a number of amount of, well, then you're into the actual definition, gas particles colliding with a wall to measure. You're like, that's the pressure, though.
Pressure, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I see where you're going. Yeah, and you're right.
Thank you.
Well,
Meanwhile,
at least they use that
I'm
word.
like deeply extremist when it's about using correctly the terms, and yeah,
yes,
people use these terms fallaciously and they have no idea, no clue.
I do want to pass to that Red Wing guy because I had to shut him down while I was talking to the other guy. Sorry about that. It's just audio chaos if there's
Carry
more
on.
than one. Radwin, sorry.
Carry on.
Sorry
It's
for that.
nice listening.
Thank you. Yes, you're correct. Radwin, sorry for biting your head off. It's just because of audio chaos, nothing personal. Hopefully you can hear me.
Oh, by the way, I didn't even hear you at all. So I was talking to Ghost, apparently. I had to restart, and then you all came back, and I heard you going crazy. So
No,
I
that's fair enough.
figured I got muted by somebody.
Yeah, that's fine. That happens occasionally. I could just tell by the way you were interjecting something wasn't quite right. But there we go. Good.
Yeah.
Well, that was fun. That was a fun hour. Time flies when you're having fun, eh?
Also have an interesting challenge for Obersk, kind of. Why hasn't there been any vacuum collected from space and brought back down to Earth? Since we have
Any vacuum collected?
Yeah.
A bucket of it.
That's so crazy. What a great
You're
question.
going to need a container for that, mate. Hey, you'll need a container for that.
Exactly.
It's just taken what the guy... That was epic. He's taken what the guy just literally said and packaged it up in a nonsensical question. Like, well, if you can't define vacuum because it's only the amount of pressure that's in a given area or how little there is, if you're going to take the original, well, I've got a high vacuum or a low vacuum. All right, go and get me a medium one. Bring it back here.
I've also got some questions about ether. I don't have any positions or anything really.
Okay, I can tell by your caveats
I've been
that you're not going to punt it to us. You just fine. Go ahead.
Yeah. I've just been dipping my toes into philosophy of science, and to my understanding, there are fields like electromagnetic fields, and you can't have a field of nothing. Could you like school me on why that isn't required, or why it's invalid, or whatever?
What exactly are you claiming, first of all? That we've got magnetic fields. Okay, I'll agree. We do. We use them for pointing compasses and things like that. Okay, so we're in agreement. That's good. Now you're asking me about having nothing or nothing or something? I don't really understand the second part of your question.
Yeah, what is it a field of?
It's an electromagnetic field. That's what we. Didn't I just say this? We use it for compasses.
Okay. Yeah. So like what I've been seeing is that well, what they were saying is that you can't have a field of nothing. So therefore, there must be some kind of substance behind it that can have a field. That's
No,
his
it's not.
argument.
Like a magnet.
Well,
I mean,
the magnet isn't where around it. The magnet occupies a small space compared to the whole magnetic field around it.
hold on. Am I following you correctly? You're saying if we've got a magnetic field, something must be producing it. Therefore, there must be a magnet, right? Unless you're saying something other than that, I don't really follow.
Well, I'm saying that, so at least to my understanding, you might could be completely wrong. I'm not good, but yes. So like you can have this in a vacuum. Like you can also have light in a vacuum or very close to a vacuum, like 10 to the minus 6th vacuum. So since there's so little air, there must be something else having these fields.
What,
maybe I shouldn't.
No, okay. So, I think I'm following you. You're saying we can have magnetic fields, and it doesn't matter if there's gas particles in the way or not. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Like
we can have magnetic fields, and it doesn't matter if there's gas in the way. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Anything else? I was expecting a question at the end. Sorry.
Yeah. So like it's a field, and to my understanding, a field is nothing without something having the field.
Like a magnet.
I think he's trying to ask the construct of the magnetic field. What is it made of?
What's a magnetic field made of?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know.
By the.
I mean, that's beyond. That's
by the poles.
The poles of a magnet.
Yeah, north and south. That
Yeah.
makes the field of the magnetic.
Yeah,
of
but
the force magnetism.
But I have literally covered that like 4 times. I've said that.
All right,
Yes.
sir. I'll look. I'll end it now, and I'll look into it.
Yeah, but there
more
must have been
later.
something
Maybe
else
I'll
to
look
it.
up.
What? There must have been something else because so
Yeah.
far we have magnetic fields. Yes. And there must be something creating them. Yeah. Maybe a magnet.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what's creating them. I just know that they're there. But then you're like, well, but they work without any air being there, like through a vacuum. Okay, yeah, I'll accept that. What's next? What can we do with all this information, first of all? What's the point in that? Knowing that we've just got a magnetic field and it must be created by something. That's great and all, but how's this helping us?
It is more of like a philosophical question: how you can have a field. There is nothing, really.
I didn't really get a philosophical question out of that, really. I'm still not following you.
That's wrong.
Hold on.
That's wrong.
Guy,
Go ahead.
he's brought up the subject. Let him.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you said there's a philosophical question in there. I really didn't hear any philosophical questions, unless I'm missing something.
Yeah, like how you can have a like a field is a property of something, to my understanding. How can you have a property of nothing? Vacuum is nothing.
Who said it was a property of nothing? I thought we said we've gone from it could be a property of a magnet. You were like, yes. Now you're telling me it could be a property of nothing. Then I'm like, what are you talking about?
No, I'm saying like it's a magnetic field, and a field is a property of
It's
something.
not a property. Wrong.
Okay, maybe I'll just end it there.
Elements of
the other guy's
nature
jumping in
have-
again. I want to know where he's going. I'm trying to lead him, and you're interjecting, making it harder because I'm having to reiterate that I'm trying to talk to someone else.
Understood. I let you. Go on.
Okay, so what I asked you, you didn't answer. What does this benefit? How is this beneficial to us? What's the end result that you're trying to eke out of us?
Okay. I suppose the benefit would be a better understanding, but if you know like the facts, but
You left out a word. A better understanding of magnetic
physics.
No, sorry, no. Physics is a study of the physical and natural world. We're specifically talking about magnetic fields. So you left that word out, though. That confuses me why you do that. But you went, so we can have a better understanding of, and then you left out the word. We're studying magnetism and magnetic fields. That's what you've told me. But I'm now at a loss as to why you'd leave that word out. Okay, I'm with you. Okay, we're studying magnetic fields. Cool. So we've got magnetic fields. You've reiterated it 3 or 4 times. Yes, we have. And they still work even if there's no gas in their way. Cool. Yeah, great, I agree. Okay, so now you're saying, well, we should study them. What should we study? Well, the magnetic fields, presumably. But you didn't say it, and I don't know why. So, okay, well, we can study magnetic fields, yes. What's next?
I suppose that's it.
So, okay, back to my original question. How did this benefit us in any way, shape, or form?
Well, to have a better understanding of fields, good to have a good philosophical understanding.
Why?
Like that's how you have the scientific method.
You've done it again. Okay, stop. You seem to be connecting things that are disjointed. We need to study magnetic fields. You haven't got an answer to why, but then apparently studying magnetic fields is going to give us a better philosophy? That's a complete non sequitur. No. We can, and I mean, you can also study radio waves. I mean, that's really interesting. Yes, you can study magnetic... Whoever's talking, please stop. Yes, you can study magnetic fields. But for some reason, and again, I don't know why, you think that studying magnetic fields will give you a better philosophy. No, it will give you a better understanding of magnetic fields if you study them.
Okay.
But how does that benefit us?
No, it's just I don't know.
Could it be that you've got some new charlatan guru that's maybe leading you down a bad garden path, that studying magnetic fields gives you true enlightenment and a better philosophy on the world? Perhaps you've been led to believe that that is the case, and I've just broken it down into its constituent parts, and all you're really doing is saying, I wonder what causes magnetism. And that's really all you're asking. It has no relation to anything we cover here. It has no relation to the nature of world. It's definitely a phenomena, I suppose, but that's about it. It doesn't help. But you thought it would give you a better philosophy if we studied this. No. Maybe the gurus that you were getting this from made you believe that you would get a better philosophy if you studied magnetism.
I thought it was ether.
I suppose it would be
I was getting to that. You've ruined my finale, John. You've only said 3 words and you've ruined my finale. I was getting there.
Sorry,
that was going to be the end, but you've ruined it. I'll have to do it now. I'll do it now. Nothing you've discussed is ether, but you put all of this under the subcategory or subheading of ether, but it isn't. It's a study of magnetic fields. I don't know why you've got the impression this has anything to do with something called ether. It isn't. Or philosophy. It isn't. Or better understanding physics. It isn't. It's just the study of magnets. Have you been duped by con artists into thinking that looking at magnets will give you a better worldview? Is that really what's happened?
No, it's
Seems
not
like
about ethics.
Does seem like it. You kind of told me a minute ago that we need to study this so we can get... You just told me 2 minutes ago we need to study this because it will give us a better philosophy. That's what you said. You've been
Maybe
duped.
I misspoke.
I'm not trying to insult you, but normally when people get conned and the person points out that they've been conned and shows how stupid the thing they've been conned with is, you just told me that studying magnets will give you a better philosophy on the world. Physics. The physical and natural world will be better expanded by studying magnets. Now, when I put it in that way, do you not realise you've been duped by con men into studying stupid crap that has no bearing on anything? I told you it was ether, by the way. It wasn't. That was also garbage and nonsense. They've given you a magical word to believe in and then told you to study magnets to give yourself a better philosophy.
Can he define it?
He's a harmless guy that's just dipped his toe into ether, so I don't want to be too hard on him.
I'm not being hard on him. He come out of the gate with ether. I just want to understand, what is ether? Simple question.
The substance which fields, where fields manifest.
Citation, please.
No.
Oh, I have no citation at all.
You know why? It doesn't exist. You made it up, or you're just parroting something that somebody told you. That's not what ether is.
Yes, I am parroting. That's why I'm so unsure.
No, that's okay. Who are you parroting, just out of interest? Hold on. Just, can you
Inductica.
Who, sorry?
Inductica on YouTube.
One more time.
Inductica. It's a small YouTube channel. Inductica.
Intertica. Never heard of it.
Oh, like in induction. Inductica.
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 All right.
Yes.
The guy's telling you that he's telling you about something undefined. That's ether. And calling a philosophy a study of magnets. This guy's a con man.
No, I suppose I misspoke on that.
I'm just telling you how it is, man. You can brace against it all you like. This guy's a con man. Let's try that a third time. Hopefully the triggered con E won't rumpus it. You've been conned. You thought magnets and what they do, magnetic fields, were something called ether. And you, because of this guy, were under the misapprehension that studying magnets, the thing you were hesitant to say, yeah, was actually going to expand your worldview, scientific understanding, that's physics, and philosophy. Now, I'm telling you,
I know. Misspoke.
You can just stop and listen to me. It's my fourth attempt to tell you. Not request an interruption. You don't seem to understand what's happening. In reality, mate, I'm not actually telling you. This might come as a shock, right? But I'm telling an audience. You're just amused, like canvas for me to tell a wider audience with you as the example. You have been conned. Magnets aren't philosophy. They're not ether. And they're not physics. They're magnets. You've been conned.
Right. I just want to clarify something.
Sure.
That he's starting from philosophy and then applying that to magnets and fields, including magnetic fields. So I misspoke there. Sorry.
I see. So you're applying philosophy to magnets. Why?
Yes.
Why? Didn't you want to know how the fields worked? I mean, before, preemptively, but if you want to know how something works, you put it through the scientific method. Now, if you're a con man, you won't put a phenomena through the scientific method. You'll tell your audience that you're conning, that you apply philosophy to phenomena. You've been conned. You know,
sure.
Let me tell you a little story. One of these con men, his name was Jaron Campanella, was talking about science like it was conning people. A reification fallacy. So I took it upon myself to tell this ether-punting charlatan con man what science actually was. Because he thought it was okay to tell people the physics and philosophy of garbage like ether. Now, when I told him what the actual method you'd apply to a magnet if you wanted to know why it was doing something that's a phenomena, that would be something occurs in the presence of that magnet and you want to know why, you'd apply the scientific method. Now, I went out of my way to explain to someone who obviously I didn't realise was a charlatan con man punting this grift of ether by applying philosophy to a magnet. Yeah, I pointed out what science was. You know what his reaction was? He went out of his way to tell an entire community that I'm a con man. Yeah, that's right. I pointed out an actual empirical method to establish the cause of phenomena, like magnets, or magnetic effects, because a magnet in and of itself, that's just a concrete noun. But nevertheless.
Hey, Nathan, that empirical method is philosophical, you brain dead retard. You don't know what you're talking about.
Sorry, was I talking to you?
It doesn't matter. You're a brain dead retard. You don't even know what you're talking about.
He just wants to ad hom me.
That's what I.
Just wants to ad hom me. No, I'm pointing out that the charlatans in our flat Earth community that use the word flat Earth to punt other things that aren't flat Earth. And what are they actually punting? They're punting this thing called ether. Yeah, they're called true earthers, not flat earthers, but you might have thought they were when you got to them. Now, what they will actually do is demean anybody that exposes their grift. Their grift uses philosophy to apply what? An explanation to a phenomena? No, that's a grift. It's a con. It's a lie. These are scammers. But that's what we get called when, stupidly, I approach them to explain what science is. They don't want to know what science is because they need it for their grift. They need to explain how this experiment may be Michelson-Morley. Sounds science. It isn't. It's just called an experiment. So that you think when they apply philosophy to magnets, you're proving some really important thing about physics. Because that's what you've told me. No, mate, you've just been conned by an elaborate scheme that makes you think the study of magnets will expand your philosophy and physics of the world. No, that's garbage. You've been conned by con men. And those same con men have gone out and polluted the world into distrusting an empirical method of science so that they can call their grift experiments. They'll also get on board with other grifters on the globe side that claim that they've got observations of suns that are also worthy of calling experiments. Yeah? Anybody remember me being called a scammer for saying science proves things? Now, if you're still subscribed to Jaron Campanella, ask yourself why he's endorsing an experiment if apparently that's a scam. No. Pointing out the scientific method undermines Will Duffy and ether. That's why he's called me a scammer when I pointed out the scientific method to him and his cohorts. They need the grift. They need to tell you philosophy explains phenomena, don't they? Like we've just been told by this man who has been conned by them. Now, it's all clear what's going on here. We all know who the con artists are. We all know what they're punting as their con. It's called ether. Now, if that wasn't clear to you as an audience member, wake up and smell the bleeding coffee. You've been conned. And the people who are trying to point it out to you, well, you thought we were all scammers, didn't you? Well, what do you know? The people scamming you said the people who are trying to point it out to you were the scammers. Yeah, you're not very bright. If you're watching this going, how dare you tell me that my philosophy that explains the physics of the incoherent dielectric and magnetic fields isn't going to expand my philosophy and cure the world with free energy. You've been conned. Are you really that dumb? Jaron, Dave, Witsit, they're all con artists. They made you think they were explaining an entire world by telling you how to explore a magnet. If you haven't figured it out by now, oh well. Yeah, more fool you. Carry on being conned. I don't care.
I personally told Witsit in 2018, 2019 not to go on this path of ether because it's a scam, but he ignored it.
Jaron made his biggest mistake recently when he did the same thing that he did to me to a guy who doesn't make a dime out of flat Earth. Yeah? A guy who's given up a career hoisting heavy weights on very long strings, aka like a pendulum, and has gone out of his way to describe how Earth is a level plane, exactly as we do. And Jaron comes along and says, you're a grifter, you're a scammer, you're a con artist, you're trying to get money out. And he turns around and says, I don't make a dime. And all he did was show all of the grifts that Jaron's got going so he can punt his ether scam behind a paywall for hundreds of dollars. And what do we get from the people who have listened to these scam artists? They tell us that a magnet will expand their bleeding philosophy of the world because they apply philosophy to it. If you can't tell you're being conned, right, you're dumb. There's no other words for it.
Yeah. Mr. Nathan, I'm literally illiterate in magnetism. I have a book on magnetism, and this book has 6,000 pages. I read only 300 pages out of this book, so this is why I consider myself illiterate in magnetism. But mankind has written whole libraries on magnetism. There is so much study and written facts about magnetism, and this guy, the moment this guy mentioned about magnetism, I knew for a fact that he knows nothing about magnetism, not even the introduction. He says
Supposed
that
correct.
Well, hold on.
magnetism has a property. It doesn't. Elements of nature have magnetic properties, not magnetic fields.
Like a magnet. Like a magnet.
Yeah.
So they're studying
Yeah.
magnets.
And if I ask him what are the magnetic field, what are the magnetic properties of elements, he wouldn't know to tell me how many magnetic properties are out there.
I just, when you break it down, you can't quite fathom, because you, with having done a cursory search through one book on magnetism, you can now demonstrate an exemplary understanding beyond the Ethereum's understanding. You were like, well, I consider my expertise higher than theirs, and you're right, aren't you? As sad as that is.
Yeah, when I hear about Ether, I know that is tooth fairy. It's scammers and con men.
Yeah.
I know.
And it wasn't until Jaron projected his con onto a man not making a dime was it overtly obvious to everyone around that, oh, I see, your income while you punt Ether's threatened, to the point where anybody threatening it is going to be claimed to be someone grifting. Even when they're not making money, suddenly his entire argument fell to pieces when he attacked Level Earth Observer, who doesn't make a dime. Everyone suddenly goes, oh, anybody you challenge is your grift. Gets called a scammer and a grifter. Oh, I see. It all makes sense now. Why? Well, because he's led an entire populace of people who thought they were studying flat Earth on a merry trail of studying magnets, under the misapprehension they're going to get a better worldview. And the worldview that they've substituted, that they relinquished in the form of a globe faith, has been replaced with a jolly trail of studying magnets. Oh, how wonderful. You've all been conned. I hope it's all starting to become crystal clear what's going on around here now. I mean, it's only taken 8 years.
I just want to clarify something. I'm not a big fan of Witsit or any of these guys. I'm much more fan of you because you're more clear, and so same with Quantum Eraser. Yeah, and I also think I don't know very little of magnetism, I must admit, and I will also say that I suppose it also makes sense, at least to my understanding, that the magnet is just causing it, and there's no ether. I suppose that makes sense currently.
You can hear it.
I will look
Sorry,
at it independently more, but sure.
You can hear it in their disciples. Well, I feel if we can just study, insert long pause, we'll find out more about physics. Study what? There's a brain freeze, because they know damn well that if they just say it like it is, if I study magnet, I'm going to find out all sorts about the physical nature of the... No, you're going to find out about a magnet. But that's what they've been duping you all with for quite a while, isn't it? Yeah? Now I'm not going to stand on ceremony anymore. Jaron's just a wanker. He's conning people. Now, as much as I can stand by the fact that if I want to charge for my time one day, there's no reason why Jaron can't. But now we all know I take that position in terms of wanting to earn a living. Now we can boil it down to brass tacks about what he's actually punting behind those paywalls. His grift, his con, his scam, the same one he said I was guilty of. Well, it's been a few years. Nobody's given any examples of me grifting. I've just pointed out how Jaron and his whole bunch of cronies are flogging you a magnet as a worldview. Hope you've all coughed up lots of money for that crap. Because now it's going to be really hard to relinquish, especially if you're financially invested in it. Yeah? But there's going to be more and more people that are going to start pointing out in the stark reality that it is. Excuse me, dickhead. You're going to tell me I need to study a worldview about incoherent dielectric accelerative forces in a downward bias that gives us the motion of the Earth that might generate an entire electric field to give us free energy? No, Dumbo. You mean you're looking at magnets, do you, Dumbo? Did you pay for that incoherent dielectric accelerative garbage that you just spewed at me? Because all you're doing is looking at magnets, and it's fairly sad. And anybody with half a brain, not easily conned, would have recognised that months ago, if not years ago.
This is very funny, Mr. Nathan. Did I hear that Jaren actually believes now that the Earth is moving?
I don't know, he's buying into an experiment. Sorry, what was that, Jaren? People who say science proves things are scammers. Oh, good luck with your experiment, Jaren. I'm sure that won't be worthy of calling the person spending £31,000 on you a scammer, like you did with me when I pointed out that science does prove things. But now you're into an experiment that we all need to take seriously because of what it might prove. That experiment. No, it isn't an experiment, you dumbo. Yeah, we are definitely threatening your grift. That's right, yeah. The grift's over. Nobody's buying it. You can carry on selling your magnets behind a paywall, Dumbo. But I assure you, there's a reason many people have contacted me in the last couple of days pointing out that you're in free fall. Everybody's deserting Jaren. Well, I'm going to shout it from the hilltops, Dumbo, calling me a scammer about 2 years ago. Well, now the tables have turned and everyone's deserting you because you're backing an experiment. Yeah, everyone realises where the grift really lies, don't they, Jaren? That's why you're attacking Level Earth Observer, your biggest mistake, as he's not making a dime. Calling him a grifter. Oh, dear. Yeah, your lashing out in defence has obviously served you badly and people are deserting you even more. They're all contacting me, telling me. Yeah, we're all deserting Jaren, and so are all of his cohorts. Shocking, innit? 1 minute you're telling someone who's explaining the scientific method that they're a scammer. The next minute you're taking part in a quasi-experiment and everybody's deserting you.
Ad hominem, just like Globers do. He's using the same techniques, fallacious techniques.
Yep, using science to fraud people into believing there's a problem here. No, there's no problem. There's an affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy that if he had half a brain, he'd understand. Given I've actually explained it to him in the last week, you'd think he would have come out with that by now to a public audience. No, don't worry. I do understand. This is an affirming the consequent fallacy that requires an antipodal assumption. Is he going to do that? No, he's calling Level Earth Observer a scammer. Why? Because he hasn't taken it seriously how devastating this fallacy could be. No, Jaren, that's why everyone's deserting you. Yeah? Decrying science and then taking part in an experiment and highlighting how everyone must take it seriously is the reason everyone's deserting you. Meanwhile, I still get the same high praise from everyone who actually listens to what we present here. Same as QE. Same guy who presented this information in the first place. The guy that pointed out how science has got us on a ball when they didn't have any. Science, that is. Experiments, that is. Same fraud you're taking part with Will Duffy in. That's why everyone's deserting you. Should have listened. Should have paid attention. Should have learned what science was. Or you are either in on the grift or being duped with science by Duffy. There's no other way to cut it and everybody knows it. Meanwhile, behind a paywall, you can grift ether with Witsit, can't you? Tell everybody that the magnets are going to prove their world. No.
Never. Magnets have always been part of the world. They are not the world itself. Yeah.
What about if I apply philosophy to them? What about if I apply a philosophical framework to them? What about if I apply a preponderance of evidence to them? Then I can explain the physics of the world. Make no mistake.
No. It's a lot more complex than that.
But to the crayon muncher that screamed out, well, Nathan Oakley, the scientific method is philosophy. No. Scientific method is a method. It is derived from philosophy. You're a moron.
Correct. I had a change of heart in regards to Jaren. It was like last year when you had an interview with him, QE, Nathan, and Jaren.
It was just me, actually.
I heard him. Yeah, I heard him how he was calling you guys names and stuff, arguing about the scientific method, and I was like, "Oh my God, Jaren!" In my mind, don't say these things because you have no idea who you're dealing with, And yeah, he disappointed me, so I deserted his channel and
It's showing its true colours.
Yeah.
They're
Sorry,
all
I just
coming
want to
to
point something out. Sorry, Neil, to cut you off. Yeah, when I say people are contacting me left and right to point out how and why they're deserting him. Yeah, there's an example. Like literally on a live stream. But didn't entice that. He just told us, didn't he? Yeah, Jaron, we know they're all deserting you now. Good luck with your experiment. I'm sure that science will prove something, right, Jaron? Oh, what's that? What science doesn't prove? I'm a scammer for saying it does. Yeah, good luck with your experiment and your subscribe account that's dwindling massively. Yeah, everyone's deserting him because they know he's a scammer now. So now it's time to twist the knife. Yeah, what was he scamming you with? Magnets.
You know, I was okay when he was making YouTube videos about flat earth, and he was making money out of that. I was fine. It's okay. I personally never did YouTube videos about flat earth or about anything. But and I was in agreement with many ideas about the flat earth view and the arguments that we present. But when he went on this path, arguing with you guys about science, I saw how illiterate he is. So I'm not following him anymore. That's it.
Fair enough. With that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. Of course, a huge thank you to Politics Discord server. Be sure to join. I'm sure someone from the moderation team will post a link in the live stream chat so you can check out that Discord server and join today. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching an after show, and I will see you all in the next video.